يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله تبارك وتعالى وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. As far as the times again, I think the hour is supposed to go back soon. For that reason, like I said, the class has just started up again, so I was trying to get everything situated. I apologize again for my tardiness. As we continue on the book of Usool al-Eemaan by Sheikh al-Imam Muhammad Abdur-Razzaaq rahimahullah rahmatu wasi'ah, as we were explaining the hadith of Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiyallahu anhu, which is the second hadith in Kitab Usool al-Eemaan by Sheikh Muhammad Abdur-Wahhab. As we continue on explaining the hadith that we stopped in that which is affirming the sifat of Allah Ta'ala, and likewise those affairs that's pertaining to as-sifat as-salbiyah or sifat of what? As-salbiyah, and then we have that which is the opposite or the completeness of its opposites we'll talk about inshallah. We talked about how Allah Ta'ala, as it says in the first love on the wording in the hadith, it says Inna Allah Ta'ala la yanam, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not what? Does not sleep. We said that asleep, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, is when a person loses his senses around him until he's overtaken by that weakness where he does not feel what's going on around him until he falls into that which is pertaining to the human being, which is completeness. As some sifat, as we talked about in the last lesson, there are characteristics that befit the creator and does not what? Befit the creation. Even though they share in that characteristic generally, which is called some characteristics, as you'll find inshallah, as the ulama mentioned, they call it al-mutlaq al-kulli. Al-mutlaq al-kulli. As we'll talk about inshallah. Sheikh Muhammad Abdur-Wahhab, or Sheikh Muhammad Eemaan al-Jami, Sheikh Muhammad Eemaan al-Jami, he says there are certain characteristics you'll find of that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has that which is al-basar. And likewise, from the creation, likewise have the characteristic of what? Al-basar. Or that which is of, for example, speech. And likewise, the characteristic of speech, Allah Ta'ala has that characteristic. Likewise, the creation has the same characteristic which is called al-kalam, which is speech. So there are certain characteristics that which has that ishtirak. Al-ishtirak fil al-mutlaq al-kulli faqat bidun al-idafa. Of that which Sheikh Muhammad Eemaan al-Jami rahimahullah, that he mentioned in this affair of Aqidah, and this affair of Aqidah is very important, where he said that al-ishtirak yakun fi al-mutlaq al-kulli qabla husul al-idafa. That which is in al-mutlaq al-kulli al-murad bidhalik al-ma'na al-'am. هذا هو المراد بالمطلق الكلي. عندما يطلق العلماء مثل هذه العبارات فالذي يتبادر إلى ذهن الشخص والسامع المراد بالمطلق الكلي المعنى العام. هذا هو المراد. That's the meaning of it. The meaning of المطلق الكلي is the general meaning. The general meaning of that which is of what? Of sight. Before the connection or the idafa, or what they call the addition or the connection takes place, Allah Ta'ala of the characteristic of basar, and likewise the characteristic of basar with the creation, they share in the general meaning. Al-mutlaq al-kulli. They share in the mutlaq al-kulli, which is the general meaning before the connection takes place. And this example only takes place fi dhihn. Because everything outside is mukhtas. Listen to me. Matter of fact, nobody write this down. Listen to me carefully. That which is al-mutlaq al-kulli only exists in the dhihn, in the mind. You understand what I'm saying to you? Everything outside of the mind, which is outside of the mind, is mukhtas, meaning everything is connected to what's connected to. The hand of the creation is connected with the hand of the creation. Just like that which is pertaining to the hand of Allah is with Allah Ta'ala. Right, everyone? This example, what they call the general meaning, is only the example of it, not the characteristic. We're not talking about the kayfiyya, nothing like that. No, just the general meaning is in the mind of the person. You understand? The general meaning. General meaning that the sight of Allah Ta'ala befits him. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Astaghfirullah tubilay. The general meaning of that which is of basar. General meaning of that which is of basar. The creation and the creator, what? Share in the what, everyone? General meaning. Before the idafa takes place, which is only in the mind. Because everything outside of the mind is mukhtas. You understand them? No, you don't. For everything in the mind, like we said, it's the general meaning, the creation and the creator share in the general meaning only. Once the idafa takes place, the connection takes place, which already exists outside the mind. The hand of Allah is with Allah Ta'ala, and the hand of the creation is with the creation. There's no ishtiraq whatsoever. There's no type of similarity whatsoever. Do you understand or not? I'll say it one more time. In the beginning, which only exists in the dhihn, in the mind, the general meaning. Allah Ta'ala has basar. The creation likewise has basar. Right or wrong? They share in the general meaning. That's before the idafa takes place. Meaning that which is in sentences or that which is connected. But otherwise, the true reality of it, everything outside the mind is what? Is mukhtas. Meaning when I say mukhtas, meaning that the hand of Allah is with Allah Ta'ala and the hand of creation is with the creation. طيب. They share in that which is the general meaning only. Outside of the mind is what? The connection takes place. Or the connection is there already, excuse me. In this instance, there's no similarity whatsoever. You understand? There's no similarity whatsoever. But al-mutlaq al-kulli, or what they call al-ma'na al-'am, is what it what? Shares in. Another example of that. Just like you find there are fruits in the that which is of the dunya, called fawakih. And you have that which is fawakih fil jannah. They share in the mutlaq al-kulli. The general meaning. The name, they have the what? Ishtirak. They have that which is what? Where they're not the same as far as the general meaning. طيب. But however, when they're connected with each other, and if you say the fawakih in paradise, fawakih in the dunya, the idafa takes place, there's no similarity whatsoever. There's no similarity. That's why we know the other of that which is Ibn Abbas, there's nothing of that which is in Jannah what is similar to that which is other in this dunya, except in what? The names. That's it. You understand, everyone? So that which is pertaining to the sifat of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, such as basar, such as sama', such as that which is of some of those characteristics, you will find in which that which is the creation, which was given by Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, has that which is the most complete sifa as far as that which is of basar, of that which is of sama', of that which is of ilm, that which is of jud, that which is being, or that which is of sight, that which is of hearing, that which is of knowledge. Some of the creation that have those characteristics, they share in only the general meaning only. Understand, everyone? And that's what they call al-mutlaq al-kulli. We said that the word, or that which is of, nawm, is a characteristic of imperfection, meaning it does not befit the Creator, but however is perfection as it pertains to the creation, because us as human beings, we need sleep in order for us to carry out our daily affairs in the most correct and the most best way. As far as the human being, if he's deprived of sleep, then what? That's considered imperfection. He's not be able to what? He only could go a certain period of time where he cannot sleep. Eventually and inevitably, the human being needs sleep. The Creator does not need anything. That's why that which is of noam is a sifat naqs. It's a characteristic of imperfection as it pertains to the Creator. And that we talked about before, the last class. We said that there are certain sifat of Allah Ta'ala that He negates from Himself. That which is of sifat naqs. Characteristics of imperfection He negates from Himself. And those characteristics are called what? Al-sifat al-salbiyah. Characteristics of sifat al-salbiyah in which Allah Ta'ala negates from Himself. There's a minhaj in that. Allah Ta'ala only negates from Himself characteristics that does not befit Him. For example, you'll find all throughout the Quran Allah negating certain characteristics that are considered a characteristic of naqs as it pertains to Him. For example, sleep. For example, eating. For example, drinking. For example, having a shabih or nadhir or nid, having a partner, having a helper, having that which is of one who is similar to him, having a sahiba, a female partner, having a walad, having a son, having nisyan, forgetfulness, having that which is of ghafla, heedlessness, inadvertentness. Allah negates all that from Himself because it's imperfection as it pertains to Him. You understand, everyone? Allah Ta'ala negates those characteristics because He's trying, or that which is, astaghfirullah to be lay, that's a slip of my tongue, because He Ta'ala is affirming the completeness of His opposite. As we talked about in the last lesson, that which is negated from His characteristics, Ta'ala, as Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyyah mentions, as we'll talk about this inshaAllah, of that which is in the ayah, Surah Shura, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. Under that, of which we'll talk about inshaAllah, that which is pertaining to the characteristics in light of that ayah is al-ijmal fi al-nafi wa tafsil fi al-ithbat. As we'll talk about inshallah. Don't worry. It's all going to come in due time. But like we was talking about before, right now, every characteristics that Allah negates from Himself, forgetfulness, akil, or eating, drinking, heedlessness, sleep, having a female partner or a child, which is all characteristics of imperfection. Allah Ta'ala negates, and also la'ib, joking and jesting and doing things without a purpose. All those affairs have been negated in order to bring the completeness of His opposite. As we talked about, Allah Ta'ala negates from Him sleep. He negates from Himself sleep in order to affirm absolute complete al-haya wal-qayyumiyya, absolute perfect life and absolute perfect self-sufficiency. Tabaraka wa ta'ala. Allah negates from Himself noam, sina. The word noam is sleep. Sina is the introduction of sleep, which is called drowsiness. Allah la ta'khudhuhu sinatu wa la nawm. له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. To the end of the ayah. It's getting heavy. The eyes like this. Heavy. You know, you guys, once you start doing this, I will stop. I'm going to stop the class. Once I see the eyes start going like this, the heaviness, the thiqal, and the ayn, the uyun, once that comes, I'm going to stop the class. Allah Ta'ala negates from Himself forgetfulness in order to affirm the completeness of His opposite, which is absolute perfect ilm. Allah negates from Himself la'ib. وَمَا خَلَقَنَا السَّمَاءَ وَالْأَرْضَ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا la'ibid. That we did not create the heavens and the earth out of joking and jesting, meaning without any purpose, just to create, just for no purpose behind it. Allah creates everything out of hikmah, and it also, likewise, Allah Ta'ala creates everything with a purpose behind it. And if you was to look at things that do not have any soul in it, as you'll find with Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyyah, he says even things that have no life has a purpose while it exists. What about things that actually do have life in it? Everything around us has a purpose. Is there anything in this room you can say that doesn't have a purpose? Anything you can name. The microphone has a purpose. The stand has a purpose. The table has a purpose. The phone has a purpose. The book has a purpose. The shelf has a purpose. The outlet of the electric wall has a purpose. The coffee book or the whatever, the shoes have a purpose. The book bag has a purpose. Everything around us that doesn't have life in it has a purpose for why it's there. Everything. Without any exception. Your glasses have a purpose. The pen has a purpose. Your shoes, everything that does not have life in it has a what? A purpose of why it exists. If that's the case, then what about something that actually has hayat in it? That Allah Ta'ala put life in it. It's all the more reason it has a purpose to it. It was a purpose of why it's there, why it was created. Everything has a purpose, especially in that which Allah Ta'ala put life in. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala negates all these characteristics in order to affirm the completeness of what? Its opposite. You understand, everyone? طيب. لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. Verily Allah does not what? Sleep. And it does not befitting that he sleeps. Then it says that which is the next part of the hadith, which is what, Adam? Keep you on your toes. No. Absolutely not. كما تحب. I could keep on his toes. Keep him sharp. يرفع القسط ويخفضه. He raises up justice just like he what? He lowers he that which is of the qist. He raises that likewise he what? He lowers it. طيب. We said that the meaning of that from last lesson is what, everyone? Quickly. That which is of the word يرفع القسط ويخفضه. The word qist in the meaning of the hadith has two meanings. Number one is that we mentioned this in last class. You guys are not studying, and you guys are not reviewing also. The first meaning of the hadith is, number one, the meaning of qist is al-mizan, the scales. It's number one. That's the meaning of the word qist in the hadith. The meaning of it is what? Number one, mizan, the scales. The Allah Ta'ala is the one that what? He is the one that weighs the scales of the actions of the slave, or weighs the actions of the slave, weighs the actions of the slave. Mizan a'mal al-ibad. That's the first meaning of the word يرفع القسط ويخفضه. يرفع القسط ويخفضه. So he's the one that what? That he, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, he puts the scale and weighs the actions of the slaves in the scale, because the scale is absolute perfect what? Justice. So al-adl, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Absolute perfect impartiality, if you want to get real fancy with the words, but we'll just stick with justice. Or just justice. Absolute, perfect, accurate, complete, in every aspect, justice. You understand, everyone? Justice with him, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, is the first meaning of that which is of the hadith, which is, everyone, mizan, the scale. The scale is justice. It is al-adl. You understand, everyone? Because mizan, when you put something on the scale, what does it show and display? The balance, which is what? It's justice. It's al-adl. You understand, everyone? So that's the first meaning of the hadith. That Allah Ta'ala, He raises some with ilm, He raises some people with knowledge, raises some with iman, raises some of that which is of those characteristics that He gives some, and He deprives of others of those characteristics. Allah Ta'ala weighs out the scale And also he weighs out the actions of these slaves on the day of resurrection. As we know, Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Al-Anbiya, where he says Ta'ala, وَنَضَعُ الْمَوَازِينَ الْقِسْطَ لِيَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ فَلَا تُظْلَمُ نَفْسٌ شَيْئًا وَإِنْ كَانَ مِثْقَالَ حَبَّةٍ مِنْ خَرْدَلٍ أَتَيْنَا بِهَا وَكَفَى بِنَا حَسِبِينَ. Allah Ta'ala says in his book, he says that we put the scales, mawazin al-qist, which is another dalil to show that qist can mean mizan. The hadith, or the ayah, which is the Surah Al-Anbiya, shows that the word qist can mean mizan. Listen to what Allah Ta'ala says. وَنَضَعُ الْمَوَازِينَ الْقِسْطِ. That's the plural of mizan. مَوَازِينَ الْقِسْطِ لِيَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ فَلَا تُظْلَمُ نَفْسٌ شَيْئًا وَإِنْ كَانَ مِثْقَالَ حَبَّةٍ مِنْ خَرْدَلٍ أَتَيْنَا بِهَا وَكَفَى بِنَا حَسِبِينَ. Allah Ta'ala says we will put that which is the scales of justice on the day of resurrection, and no soul will be oppressed. Anything in the least. If it's just an animal's weight of good, we will bring it, and suffices us of the best of those who will bring reckoning or account. طيب, that ayah, ma'ashal ikhwa, you with me? You're trying to fight it. Fight it. Fight it. Keep that. طيب, we don't be like Kamal Mekki, always make jokes in the class. We don't want to be like those knuckleheads. But at any rate, but like we were saying, it was no problem. But joke, because Sheikh Muqbil used to sometimes joke with us during class. Class, and when I was in Yemen, I witnessed him joke with some of the students from time to time. But it wouldn't be like a comedian show like the Hizbis do, like Kamal Mekki and all those other idiots. But at any rate, fighting. Fight, brother, fight. Also, Sheikh Muhammad Ali used to joke with us in class from time to time. He'd bring a little joke here and he'd laugh. There's no problem with that. As long as you just don't make it a whole show of comedy like the Hizbis do. But anyway, for what were you saying, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwa? We were saying that which is of the first meaning of the word qist is what? Mizan. To sum up everything. The second meaning of that which is of qist, it can mean that which is of rizq, provisions. It can mean rizq. It can mean provisions. Because Allah Ta'ala does have a adl in al-qismah. He has that which is absolute justice in that which he distributes and gives of the provisions for the creation. You understand, everyone? Are we understanding here, everyone? So the second meaning of that which is qist is what? Rizq. Allah Ta'ala makes some rich, some which is impoverished. All of his infinite wisdom, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. All of his infinite wisdom, he makes some that which is of, and those provisions. He opens it up for one, or he spreads it out for one, and he'll make it what? Tight and restricted for others. And that's in the book of Allah Ta'ala, as it says in Surah Al-Qasas, where Allah Ta'ala talked about on the tongue of what happened to who? Qarun. Where Allah Ta'ala said in his book about them. What happened with Qarun, when he was swallowed up by the earth, as Allah Ta'ala called the earth to swallow him up. فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ وَبِدَارِهِ الْأَرْضِ, which is also dalil to show that Allah Ta'ala gives the dunya to who he loves and who he does not love. Because Qarun had a lot of treasures, he had a lot of wealth, and he had a lot of that which is of dunya, in which they said that the keys in which could open his treasures, it took a whole quantity or strong big men just to carry the keys to that which is of his treasures. لَتَنُوءُ بِالْعُسْبَةِ أُولِي الْقُوَّةِ, as it says in the ayah. إِذْ قَالَ لَهُ قَوْمُهُ لَا تَفْرَحْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْفَرِحِينَ. Well, Allah Ta'ala, at any rate, getting back to the point, where it says فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ وَبِدَارِهِ الْأَرْضِ فَمَا كَانَ لَهُ مِنْ فِئَةٍ يَنْصُرُونَهُ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُنْتَصِرِينَ. This is what it says at the end of the ayah. وَأَصْبَحَ الَّذِينَ تَمَنَّوْا مَكَانَهُ بِالْأَمْسِ يَقُولُونَ وَيْكَأَنَّ اللَّهَ يَبْسُطُ الرِّزْقَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ وَيَقْدِرُ لَوْلَا أَمَّنَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا لَخَسَفَ بِنَا وَيْكَأَنَّهُ لَا يُفْلِحُ الْكَافِرُونَ تِلْكَ الدَّارُ الْآخِرَةُ نجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا والعاقبة للمتقين. Allah Ta'ala says in his book, of that which is of those when they were looking and wanted to be like Qarun, and wanted to be like him and have his dunya. But Allah Ta'ala caused the earth to swallow him up to make an example out of him, to show that Allah gives the dunya to who he loves or who he does not love. And it says in the end of the ayah, the people, when they says, are those who wanted to be in his place yesterday or before, now when they see what happened to him, as if Allah opens his treasures up or opens his provisions up to whom he wills, and he also restricts it to whom he wills. So that's the ayah to show what, everyone? That Allah Ta'ala, or that which is the meaning in the first part, the second part of the hadith, qist, can mean what? الرزق. فأما الذي إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأما الذي إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أهانا لا أكرما وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه. That's it. فيقول ربي أهانا. That's it. At any rate, Allah Ta'ala talks about the restriction of his provisions for some of his slaves, and he opens it up for some. All of it is out of his infinite wisdom, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And that which he gives of his slaves of his provisions is all a test from him, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And the more money you have and the more wealth you have, the more of an account you will have on the day of resurrection. So stop trying to wish to evil be have, or what to have, or who to have, or what to have. The more you have is the more reckoning you'll have, and the more severe of a reckoning you'll have. طيب. For that which is the second meaning, like we say, Ya ma'ash al-ikhwa, is what? Al-rizq. طيب. We'll say next part of the hadith. Fight, brother, fight.
The actions of the night are raised to him before the actions of the morning.
طيب. يرفع إليه عمل الليل قبل عمل النهار وعمل النهار قبل عمل الليل وحجابه النور. We want to finish up the hadith before this class today, because I do not want to mention this hadith next week. Struggle, brother, struggle. Fight. طيب. So the next part of the hadith, it says what? The actions of the slaves are raised of that which is of the evening to that which is of the actions of the night. And likewise the opposite, vice versa. Right, everyone? طيب. That right there, ya ma'ash al-ikhwa, and I forgot to mention this also, and this is from last class. There are certain sifat of Allah, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, which Ibn al-Qayyim mentions, which is called sifat al-izdiwaj, or if you want to call it sifatani muzdawijatani. Characteristics which are only mentioned together in the context, or names, names which are mentioned in the same context together. Names, ismain. Sorry, everyone. Ismain. I made a mistake. Two names. Notice Allah Ta'ala said, yakhfid wa yarfa'. Yakhfid wa yarfa'. And then in the same narration, it also says what? Yurfa'. Again. طيب. Some characteristics, or some names you will find. Stop looking at your book for review. It's not the time for review right now. That which is of those names are only mentioned together. For example, that which is al-khafid, wal-rafi', the one who raises and the one who puts down. Al-mu'izz, al-mudhil, al-mu'izz, al-mudhil. تذل من تشاء وتعز من تشاء بيدك الخير, as Allah Ta'ala says in his book. Notice they said تذل من تشاء وتعز من تشاء. You humiliate and you disgrace whom you will, and you raise and you honor who you will. You notice that they were both mentioned in the same context. You understand, everyone? That which is of certain names, they are only mentioned in the same context together. From that is what you see: Rafi', Khafid, Mu'ti, Mani'. Will you say directly after you salam out the salah? Allahumma la, what? La mani'a liman a'tayt, what? Wa la mu'tiya liman mana'at. Wa la yanfa'u al-jad minka al-jad. That dua you say as soon as you salam out, notice what was mentioned both in the same context was what? Mu'ti, Mani'. The one who gives and the one who holds back. The one who humiliates and disgraces, and the one who raises and honors. the one who raises and the one who puts down. The one al-dar wal-nafi', the one who brings harm and the one who can bring what? Benefit and good. Notice all those characteristics have been mentioned fi siyaqin wahid, one context. That's what Ibn al-Qayyim mentions. What he said, what he mentions, he says, there's sifatani muzdawijatani, two characteristics which are paired up together, or excuse me, two names which are paired up together. You can say sifat too. Two names which are paired up together, where you do not suffice by just mentioning one, that Allah is nafi'. Nafi' wa dar together. Allah is the one that gives benefit, and one is that also likewise what, everyone? Brings harm. Allah is, you don't just say Allah is mu'ti. La, you say He's mu'ti, and He's also what? Mani'. Both. You understand, everyone? He's the one that gives, and He's the one that what? Holds back. I guess everybody's going to listen to the recording afterwards. I couldn't take it. I'll listen to the recording later. But at any rate, ad-dar wal-nafi' al-mu'izz al-mudhil, the one who humiliates and disgraces, and the one who brings up and raises and honors. Nasallahu an يعافنا وإياكم وأن يعزنا وأن يرفعنا وأن يعصمنا وإياكم من الذل والخزي والمخازي والمساخط وما تغضبه وتسخطه تبارك وتعالى في الدنيا والآخرة. Anyway, so that's what we mentioned as far as those characteristics, which are called what, everyone? Sifatani muzdawijatani. Characteristics which are paired, or two names which are paired together, that if you mention one, except that you have to mention with it what? The other one. Clear, everyone? Right. That which is also likewise. If I keep going, you want me to keep going? Keep going. Right. That which is of the actions of the slave are raised during the night for the actions of the day, and likewise vice versa. Always you will find characteristics of Allah. Characteristic. Another also was mentioned from this text is the characteristic of ulu, the aboveness of Allah over His creation. Notice it says that the actions ascend to Him, which is the proof to show if the actions ascend high up to the heavens, which is to absolutely show without a shadow of a doubt the characteristic of ulu, of the aboveness of Allah Ta'ala. And that is also, as you find here in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and you will find it firstly in the Quran. In two ayat, and you just mentioned two ayat. One is in Surah what? Al-Fatir. Surah Al-Fatir. Where Allah Ta'ala says, إِلَيْهِ يَصْعَدُ الْكَلِمُ الطَّيِّبُ